Jim Jordan exposed the Democrats like never before. Take a look.
When you let bad guys stay on the street, you shouldn't be surprised when you get more crime. When you defund the police, you shouldn't be surprised when you get more crime. And when you do all those things, you shouldn't be surprised that we have, a 1,700 police officer shortage in the city.
During a field hearing in Chicago, Chairman Jordan broke down the impact of leftist policies, playing a series of clips to show how a softer approach to crime is affecting everyday people. And today, we're covering it all. So let's jump right into it.
And we got a short video we want to show that shows how it plays out on the street, which you've all talked about and all experienced in a personal and firsthand way. So if we could play that.
Bodies are being littered in the streets of Chicago.
Violent crime continues to plague Chicago. It's not only hurting the people who live there, but also the businesses that call Chicago home.
Deadly gun violence is surging in Chicago once again.
Another night of crime alerts. These attacks are just crazy.
Viciously stabbed in a random attack.
Thefts have exploded.
It's like it's the Wild West. I mean, it's very scary.
No one can ever be safe in the city of Chicago.
10 armed robberies within a 30-minute period.
It's not a matter of, if you're going to be hit, but when you're going to be hit.
Unending, senseless, insane violence across the Windy City.
Motor vehicle thefts are up in the city 104%.
Crimes are mounting.
19,000 car thefts.
Vehicles left covered in shattered glass.
5-month-old baby was among those killed.
We have yet to hear our mayor say anything, word one, about the criminals running rampant in our street.
Now, you might notice the setup looks a little different here. And that's because this hearing took place in Chicago back in 2023. But the issues it raises are still relevant today. You see, after a sharp rise in crime following progressive criminal justice reforms, many elected officials were reluctant to respond for different reasons. That's why, as chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim launched a series of field hearings to address it, starting in Manhattan, then moving to Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Philadelphia. One common denominator across these cities is the fact that they're all under Democratic leadership, with each seeing a surge in crime. So you might be wondering, how bad was it? I'll let Jim go through the numbers.
Innocent people in Chicago are victimized by a justice system that cares more about political correctness than punishing the criminals who've harmed them and their families. For 11 years, Chicago has led the country in homicides, and it has only gotten worse under State's Attorney Kim Foxx. According to an official report by the Chicago Police Department, crime in Chicago overall has increased during the last 5 years by nearly 20%. Theft is also a huge problem in Chicago, which saw an 114% increase in car thefts and a 32% increase in other thefts between 2018 and 2022. And we know what happened this past weekend. 30 individuals shot this past weekend. The rise in violent crime in Chicago has been coupled with attacks on the men and women who wear the uniform, on our great law enforcement officers. 2021, 76 Chicago police officers were shot in the line of duty. 2 officers, tragically, have already been killed this year.
One factor behind all of this is how the city's progressive leadership approached crime. After the defund the police movement, they went on to cut their policing budget. But seeing how counterintuitive that was, they bumped it up just a year later. Another thing they did was implement small but highly effective changes in pushing the far left agenda, like the, quote, foot pursuit policy, where officers could no longer chase someone simply because they ran away, and chases for minor offenses were restricted. Combined with other factors, this led to the city losing over, quote, 1,800 officers since 2019. Now, that's just one aspect of the strategy, and Jim laid out the legal changes, giving even more damning examples. But before we play that, we have to have a quick word from today's sponsor. In our last spotlight, we covered Saga Metals, trading as SAGMF in the US and Saga in Canada, and their move to secure another titanium asset in the same district as the world's largest titanium mine. Now the story is accelerating. Saga is expanded further with the Wolverine project in Labrador, and the timing really matters. The global push for energy and defense is hitting a major roadblock. Heavy rare earth supply remains tightly controlled, with much of it coming from either unstable or adversarial regions. That's why this goes beyond a typical mining story. It ties directly into national security. The Trump administration has made it clear that securing domestic supply chains for defense is a priority. These materials are essential for jet engines, satellites, and precision systems, and the Wolverine project holds the exact elements needed to support that demand. Saga is now advancing towards a maiden resource of 100 million tons, with a longer-term target that could exceed 1 billion. That level of scale puts Wolverine in a whole different league. Here's what really makes it stand out. This project sits near Voisey's Bay, a landmark discovery valued at over $4.3 billion, showing how one discovery can transform a company. Now, Saga is in the same region, backed by strong policy support, strong drill results, consistent execution, and a current valuation that doesn't yet reflect the scale of what they're building. So, if you want to learn more about their journey, check out the link in the description. A special thanks to Saga Metals for making today's video possible.
Chicago leaders have argued Ms. Foxx's policies on non-prosecution and eliminating cash bail are keeping too many criminals on the streets and making the city more dangerous. Her presumption is not to prosecute. Remember the violent riots back in 2020 where there were charges of assault, mob action, and aggravated battery to a police officer? Ms. Foxx told her office that there should be a presumption against proceeding unless there was a body or a dash cam footage available, or if a police officer was the complainant. A rogue prosecutor's decision not to prosecute crimes is made even worse when the legislature passes its pro-criminal policies that they did just recently with the so-called Safety Act. This law abolished bail, implemented arrest and release policies for policing, limited when defendants could be deemed flight risk, and prevented police from arresting nonviolent trespassers. The result? 63% of Chicagoans now do not feel safe in their city. By downplaying surging crime and denying victims justice, the leaders of this city are failing their citizens.
Exactly. It's now been a few years since progressives started enacting their, quote, criminal justice reform agenda, and the results speak for themselves. Repeat offenders are being released on the streets, only to end up committing more crimes, while serious incidents continue to stack up with no meaningful action being taken to push back against this. Irina Zarutska stands out as one example, but there are many other cases that follow the same pattern. Now make no mistake, much of this could have been avoided, but just because a small group of repeat violent offenders are not held accountable, the rest of the country is paying the price.
I mean, you stop and think about it. First it was defund the police, the former mayor. Then it's this Safety Act, and then it's a prosecutor who won't prosecute the bad guys. All that leads to the situation we see today. A former Cook County prosecutor, a 25-year veteran of the office, resigned last summer, saying he had zero confidence in the prosecutor's office. This level of crime spills into every aspect of daily life in Chicago. Local pharmacy chose to open 2 aisles for shoppers while everything else is kept hidden and only bringing out items at the shopper's request. The pharmacy took such drastic steps because retail theft and the violence that comes with it is just too great in Chicago. We want to also extend a special thank you to the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police. John Catanzara, thank you for the work you do, the FOP president. I saw John you guys, you've been tremendous hosts. We appreciate all you've done to help us set this up today. And we support you and we thank you for serving our country every day.
See, the reality is, we've reached a stage where this goes beyond a couple of prosecutors or activist judges. There is a broader movement behind it, and it has been building for years. For instance, back in 2020, AOC downplayed the crime spike in New York City, arguing, quote, maybe this has to do with the fact that people need to feed their child and they don't have money. They feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry. It's nothing short of gaslighting. And when those ideas take hold, they do not stay small. They open the door for more serious offenses to be excused in the same way, which slowly creates a situation that gets harder to control.